There are a number of protest groups that have set themselves up across the area, and I want to invite some of the people from those groups to come and speak.
I'm Ellen, and I've started a group of people strong. I've lived in my home for over 30 years. My son lives with me, but unfortunately my son keeps getting sanctioned because, well, he can't find him a job. There is no job. I live on £60 a fortnight, and they wanted to take £13 a week off me for bedroom time. I need this £13 for full, well, basically just to eat as well. If it comes to a choice of me and my son eating or paying this evil bedroom time, I'm damn sure that my son and me are going to starve. I am not, and I will not, pay no bedroom time. Let's stand together and unite.
I actually work in housing, so I know how poor housing affects people. I work for different councils. I work for Rotherham Council, I work for Chester Council, and currently I work for Sheffield Council. And I work not with council housing, I work in the private renting sector. So I'm an enforcement officer for private landlords, so my job is chasing private landlords to carry out their statutory duties and bring houses up to a half-reasonable standard. And there are chronic levels of very, very bad private renting accommodation across this city. It is not what we want. The private renting sector is expanding. We don't want the private renting sector expanding. We want decent, genuinely affordable council housing. Well, Thatcher started it with the selling off of council housing, and the Labour government, to their shame, continued it. And there has not been replacement housing built, and it is essential that there is properly affordable housing. If you haven't got decent housing, what else have you got? You can't have a sustainable community, you can't have money to do other things, you need a good branding, you need sustainable community, affordable housing. I think this government's made a huge mistake, and it's a mistake that we will use to our advantage, and we will not let anybody else die in misery because they think they're alone and because they think they can't cope, like the poor woman in Solihull who ended up thinking there was no solution. There is a solution. We are going to overturn this tax.
A single mum who shares a bed with her 4 children on a weekend due to being forced into a one-bedroom flat, and a young woman who lost both her parents in a tragic accident, being forced to pay her food money out of to maintain the family home. Painful stories are endless. We need to come together and defeat this barbaric attack, but we need to be aware of those that will try to divide us. The Tory media, the Sun, the Daily Mail, and the far-right parties like UKIP will try and tell us this is the fault of immigration. I say to you, don't let anyone tell you this is the fault of a Polish bus driver or a Muslim taxi driver. The blame lies at the feet of the system, the corrupt government, and billionaire posh boys, and the bankers who have gone to lies. So I say let's hold another demo, one that's twice, 3 times, 4 times the size of this, and let's hold it on the 1st of June, here again. But let's all get petitions, let's all go to our neighbours' homes, let's knock people up, let's get them out here.
So what we've done in Barnsley, we've done a big demonstration. We're out in Barnsley every weekend, every Saturday, 2 times through the week, getting petitions, getting people to sign, and getting different areas set up. Main areas is the council estates, because they're the most affected at this moment. Loads of deaths that's happening throughout the country. It's totally out of order with what's happening. It shouldn't be happening. This is all down to the government, down to the rich. We should stop it and try and stop it before any more deaths actually happen throughout the country. There might be people out there this minute that's going to by basically commit suicide. We don't know that, but we can try and stop that.
I would love the head of Sheffield Council to come out here from down there right now and justify how he is explaining that he is right to penalise over 6,000 families and vulnerable people when there are less than 30 bedroom tax affect? It doesn't affect me. I'm one of the people who needs to move into a bigger property, and even I can see that it is wrong to take from people who already have less than nothing when they finish their outgoing payments at the end of a week. I don't want those people to be penalised in my name or in any other council tenant that's waiting for a larger property's name. How can the government of this country justify deducting an amount from people that they themselves have decreed is the minimum amount that a person can live on per week or per month? How can they justify taking from that amount further? How can they justify forcing vulnerable people, pensioners and people seeking work and people living with a disability and people on benefits from living with a negative income week in, week out? This is absolutely disgusting, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop now. We will not take this anymore. You say, Mr. Cameron, in your wisdom, it's up to friends and family of people in receipt of bedroom tax to pay for the government's mistakes. But we say no. You say subsidise billionaires' legal tax loopholes through housing benefit reduction, and we say no. You say go to a food bank if you can't afford to live on your pitiful income. Well, we say no. And you say it's okay to drive vulnerable old ladies to such desperation that they throw themselves in front of a lorry. Well, it's not okay. And we say no. No more. No more. We will not pay it.
We've now opened our doors to everyone who's not in work. So if you're a student, if you're unemployed, if you're a single parent, if you're a carer, if you're disabled, if you're retired, you can now join Britain's biggest union. And if you're feeling isolated, and like the stories we've just heard about the poor woman who took her own life earlier last week, what better way to fight back than have 1.5 million people behind you, standing together and taking on this rotten government? When I first started working with Unite and Unite's community section, I used to sort of laugh about David Cameron's speech, "We're all in this together." I used to think it was quite funny. But the people that I've met over the last 2 or 3 months campaigning against the bedroom tax, I realise we're not all in this together at all. And actually that is an actual sick joke. And every time I hear it, it makes me more and more angry. And I'll just give you one example of why. Ian Duncan Smith, one of the big supporters of the bedroom tax, lives in a £2 million country house with a swimming pool and a tennis court. That's paid for by you, and you, and you, and you. All of us pay for his house, absolutely free. I dread to think how many bedrooms he's got in there. So when you hear about us rolling together, it ain't funny, it is a sick joke. And I think the more we band together, and the quicker we can get rid of this lot, the better. It's fantastic to see so many people here today, but as you can imagine, working for the union, I've been on demonstrations like this nearly every Saturday for the past 12 weeks. Just a few weeks ago we heard from Craig in Barnsley. We had over 150 people marching through the town. The week before that we had over 1,000 in Leeds. Our comrades over in Liverpool have regular demonstrations with hundreds and hundreds of people on it. And as Gareth mentioned earlier, in Glasgow we had 6,000 to 8,000 people. But what we need to do is we need to link these struggles together, because unfortunately the bedroom tax is only one part of the bitter and horrible welfare reform David Cameron's got coming our way. In October we'll have universal credit, which again will force people into poverty and hardship. So join the union, stand together, and let's fight back.
Support these demonstrations and support people fighting the bedroom tax, because we probation officers also work with quite a lot of really vulnerable people. Some of our clients, for example, are so damaged they don't know how to manage to pay the bills. They live chaotic lives, and then to be further taxed, get the bedroom tax and the cuts that are happening, services are being cut. This is going to not only impact on them as individuals, but in terms of raising risk and risk of reoffending in the community, then the risk is going to increase. If someone can't manage to buy food and that they know no different about shoplifting, they may go out and crime may increase. The government are talking about a rehabilitation revolution, and they're saying that, you know, they want to reduce levels of crime. And basically, what it's about, it's about the wider issue of privatisation and attacking the poor and ordinary working people. And what they're doing is that they are attacking all public services, cutting funds for people and things like the bedroom tax. What I want to say is it's not about saving money, it's ideological. It's about stripping back the state, it's about bringing in private companies, and the money is going to privatisation. As a NAPO member, I want to tell you that the probation service is about to be cut by 70%, probably more. And what it's about is bringing in companies like G4S and Serco, who are going to supervise offenders in the public. And also what that means is that our money, your money, taxpayers' money, is going to be siphoned off by these companies. And instead of it being ploughed into the probation service, they want to sack people, they want to pay people lower wages, so that they can make a profit out of your taxpayers' money. Can we trust these people? Can we trust these people to keep us safe in the community? I don't think so. When you look at the likes of G4S and the Olympics debacle, we can see that G4S aren't fit, they're not suitable, we can't trust them. Also, yesterday I learned that the government, they talk about saving money, the bedroom tax is about saving money, that's all we hear. What the government constantly tell us is about saving money. We need to save money for the greater good. But what I learned yesterday, what NAPO learned yesterday was that G4S and Serco, who do run private prisons and are responsible for tagging, have accidentally been overpaid. They've been overpaid. We're not saving money. And, you know, they're keeping that quiet. The Rhodes prison, I don't know if anybody knows, that was run by Group 4 Security Corps, G4S. That has been run so badly that has now been taken into state control. And they're not going to leave it run by us, by the state. They want to put it out for bidding again. Bear in mind, when people come up to you in your union, when you're on your demos and they're saying, we won't win, look at what happened when we had the strikes, look at what happened here. Cameron cannot even foster support within his own government. 100 odd backbenchers have voted against him. The Tory party's a mess. The coalition's a mess. You know, they are weak and they're doing lots of U-turns. There's been 37 U-turns since they've been in power, and that shows us that they have not got their act together. They're putting in policies as a reaction at the last minute, and we can pull back. We can fight the bedroom tax. We can fight privatisation, and we need to link together to be able to do it.
Now sometimes at the moment I feel like I've missed something here, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everybody else in this country understands that we're in a recession, a financial crisis that's been caused by greedy bankers, by tax-dodging companies like Starbucks and Amazon, and yet we've got a cabinet of millionaires who seem to think that this crisis has been caused by council tenants with a spare bedroom. We've got a cabinet of millionaires that are giving tax breaks to their rich friends and at the same time attacking the poorest and the most vulnerable in society. We've got to fight against this government. We've got to use demonstrations, strike action, community campaigns, every tactic available to us to take on the Condemned Coalition and smash them to pieces. We've got to make this their poll tax. But we're fighting somebody else as well. In Hull, the Labour Council has said that they'll evict nobody over the bedroom tax.
Hooray!
In Nottingham, they're reclassifying houses as one bedroom, so nobody has to pay.
Hooray!
But in the town hall down there, the silence is deafening. They're saying nothing, but we're hearing rumours that they're block booking courtrooms. We've got to say to this Labour Council, you should say no eviction. You should reclassify all the council housing in Sheffield as one bedroom. It's been in the papers today that over the last couple of months, emergency funding applications for people in severe financial hardship has increased 338%. Many people who would previously have been able to get access to hardship funds now have no money available to them because of the huge increase that's been going on. Now we've got to say very clearly that we're going to stand with everybody affected. And if there are any threats of evictions, that we'll stand outside people's houses and we won't let bailiffs in. It's also come out today that in some areas 50% of people are not paying the bedroom tax. They're not paying it in protest, and they're not paying it because they can't afford it. Now we've got to stand with them, and we should say something else as well. In those areas where people can't pay the bedroom tax, let's take that 50% and let's make it 100%. Don't pay the bedroom tax, and let's make this government's poll tax. How do we do that? We've got to give confidence. We've got to pledge to each and every person affected that if they don't pay the bedroom tax, we'll support them and we'll stop any attempt at eviction. And we've got to go further as well. If this council won't stop the bedroom tax, which it's in their power to do, then next year we'll stand anti-cuts, anti-bedroom tax candidates against them, and we'll fight in the council chamber as well.
Unfortunately, Stephanie Botrel is not the first to die as a result of benefit cuts. I need to remind you that there are at least 2,000 people who are disabled who've committed suicide since they were reassessed and their benefits were cut. This cut is not just the bedroom tax. We have 14 different benefits that are being cut. 10 million people are being affected by these cuts. This is an all-out assault on the welfare state, really. At the end of the day, this is what it's boiling down to. They want to attack every gain that we have made since 1945, whether it's council tax, sickness benefits, you name it, they are attacking it. They're taking £19 billion worth of benefit cuts away from us. They're taking £19 billion worth of benefits away from us. Who are these people? Who's benefiting from all of this misery that they're creating? I'll give you an idea. Both Michael Gove and Cameron were members of a club called the Bullington Club in Oxford. One of the things they did, you had to do to join the club, was to burn a £50 note in front of the poorest person you could find. This is utter contempt for people like us. The only people they're interested in serving is the rich. That's why the rich last year increased their wealth by 35 billion. And that's why the Tories cut the richest tax from 50 to 45%. This is all about shifting wealth from us to the rich. But they're not going to get away with it. We can defeat them. Cameron is not strong. He's no Margaret Thatcher. They are a weak government. If we are willing to organize against them, we can beat them. We need to take some lessons from the poll tax campaign, which defeated Thatcher. We can do it again. We need to organize on the estates. We need to build across the country federations, tenants, associations, to take on the government in the courts and take them on, take the bailiffs on when they come around knocking on the door. We need to organize demonstrations like that Glasgow is doing, and Manchester are doing on the 1st of June. But we also have to put pressure on the local councils to promise not to evict tenants. We need them on our side. 13 13 councils have already promised not to evict tenants. We need to put pressure. That's why we need to do that petition. And we also need to think about demonstrating at Tory party conference in September. We can defeat this government if we're organised and we're determined. And I'm sure we're going to do that. We need to go back to the estates and build more support for the campaign against the bedroom tax and all the other benefits as well.
The reason that GMB is supporting this is that these attacks are absolutely devastating the lives of ordinary people in this country. The attacks on disability benefits, on benefits in general, the cuts in jobs, the driving down of wages, the attacks on public services, the attempts to privatise everything, are all part and parcel of a Tory trying to attack the poor and the working class inside of our country. And they're blaming us for the state of the country. They're saying that immigrants are to blame, that the poor are to blame, you know, that we're the people who are responsible for the state of the country, when we all know it's the bankers and the bosses that are basically ruining our economy. And this is an actual consequence of Thatcherism. If you remember, Margaret Thatcher was the person that started to sell off council houses in this country. She's the person that stopped the council house rebuilding programme. And now, when we haven't got enough council houses and enough social housing for people in this country, she's blaming them for it and making them move out of their homes. If you're rich, you don't have to move out of your home in this country. You're only attacked if you're poor, and that's absolutely criminal. What we need is to carry on building the groups that we're building inside of our communities, but we also need to start building workplace groups. We need to start saying as working people that we will fight for the poor and the vulnerable inside of our society. And we need to use those groups to put pressure on people like our trade union leaders to do more, because at the moment they're all standing aside and watching all of this without giving us a strategy and a campaign to fight. And we need to use the groups to put pressure on the councillors inside of Sheffield and inside of the councils in this country. Because actually the councillors in this country and in Sheffield could say that they're not implementing this tax, and they would get a huge amount of support from people in this country if they refuse to implement the tax. And that's what we want to see. So we need to send a very, very clear message to them. Enough is enough. We will not stand by and watch our lives being devastated anymore. We will stand up and fight in this government for every single attack that they throw at us, and we will demand that our union leaders help us to lead that fight, because united we are strong. If we actually are divided, if we attack each other, if we blame immigrants, if we blame the poor, then that stops us from fighting back. We need unity and we need to fight back, and the message is enough is enough. We will fight a weak government like the Tories, and we will say no more.